Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Beautifully Nerding. I'm your host, Auntie Bri, and as you can tell, it is Pride Month. We're very excited. Everyone live it up. Wave your rainbow flags in the air and shake them like you just don't care. Last week, I did not make a video because I was on vacation. I went to Vegas just to kind of have some fun, leave the state. And T-Pain was performing, so that was the entire catalyst for me taking this trip. I will say that for me personally, I don't think that Vegas is a solo trip kind of place because I'm a solo trip kind of girl. I love taking trips for myself. I love just getting in the car and going and figuring out what I'm going to do when I get there. But Vegas is definitely a kind of place where you want to have at least a few friends with you to do some of the things and kind of like be in that moment with each other and create those memories. Because while I did have fun and was able to, talk to people while I was there, it was a lot of just kind of like looking around and trying to figure out what my next move was. I definitely want to go back, but it's gonna have to be one of those things where it's like, okay, here's the group, we're doing it together, here's our plans. Like, I definitely don't foresee myself going back to Vegas as a solo traveler. One thing I definitely learned, because the T-Pain concert, I don't even think it was like fully a concert. I'm not even fully sure how it would be described, more so than just a T-Pain performance. I didn't realize that this day club was actually just a pool with a ton of cabanas around. And since I went on a solo trip, I did not get a cabana, which meant that I was standing, which was fine because initially when I got there, I was able to find a nice spot in the shade. It was right by the stage, right on the barricade, like really good. Oh yeah, I'm waiting me a couple minutes. T-Pain will come out. We'll have a good show. I'll go home. So I just really needed to tell this story real quick. So bear with me. I promise we were going to talk about some media. So get to the venue. No, back up. I woke up around like maybe 5 or 6 a.m. So I'm looking up pictures of the venue because I had kind of looked up pictures, but not really. So I'm looking up pictures to see like what's the bag policy, like can I bring sunscreen, like different things like that. And I'm noticing that I keep seeing a pool in the picture. And I'm like, why is there a pool at this venue where there's supposed to be a concert happening? So eventually I do process because I'm looking in the like required attire, which also blew my mind, kind of saying like what the swimsuit guidelines were. And that's when it finally clicked in my head that like, oh, this is a pool party. And while I did bring swimsuits, I did not bring any covers for the swimsuit. And plus I was by myself, like my hair was out, like I didn't feel like washing my hair. And it was going to be awkward to just like be in the pool and be like, hi guys, you want to be friends? Like I didn't feel like doing all that. So I wore what I was originally going to wear. And I got to the venue around maybe 9:30ish because the ticket that I had said that the doors opened at 10 and that the show started at 11. So I'm like, okay, bet. I'm gonna get here about 9:30. I'm sure people will start lining up. That'll still give me enough time to get there and get a good spot. All good. I get in line. They have like the different separate lines, like the VIP line, the general admission line. Like I didn't get VIP because I was going by myself. I was like, it's not that crucial. We just got the regular admission line. As we're like chit-chatting it up in line, 10 o'clock comes and goes. The security folks are still like setting up the tables, putting the little like metal detector wands on tables. People are still like walking in who we know work there. It's 10:30 still. We're in line, like no signs of letting us in anytime soon. Around like 10:45, we hear like a mic check start. And we're just like, so at what point is this opening? Like, what's happening? So I would say maybe like 11:30, 11:45. They finally start to let people into the actual venue. They start with the VIP line, like, which is fine. Like, I'm sure that was going to happen. But there's also a line. So the VIP line is to my left. And then there's another line to my right that is supposedly also just general admission. So this general admission line had just been formed maybe like 20 minutes ago. So with people who were at like the back of the line had gotten moved up forward to this line. Okay, cool. Like, expediting things getting through. Fine, whatever. They're letting the VIP line folks in. They start to open with this secondary GA line. And I'm like, interesting. A second person comes over to this GA line and starts to help that line speed up. And I'm like, okay, because I'm at the front of the original GA line. And I'm just like, what's happening here? Because if I don't have a good spot to stand, I'm going to be mad because I got here very early. So I asked the lady who had just came over and made a second line out of the secondary line and was like, hey, is this line going to start to move anytime soon? And she was like, I promise we're moving as fast as we can. Da, 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 da. Like, no harm, no foul. She's just doing her job. I get it. Still a little irritated, but she's just doing her job. So eventually they come to this line, start to let us in. So I go into the venue and I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. I'm like walking around. I go get me a drink and a water. Literally one drink, one bottled water, $39. Okay. And then there was a stamp on the receipt that said the gratuity was included. And I'm like, I'm sure it is. Because $39 for a bottle of Fiji and one whiskey sour? Okay, don't play with me. So I go get my drink and I go stand like over near the like where the stage area is. And I just kind of like make camp. I see some girls standing like at the barricade and I see that it's shaded. And I'm like, okay, bet I'm going to go stand with them. And I'm like, hey, my name's Bri. If I stand with y'all, whoop, all this good stuff. We just kind of like are chopping it up, like waiting for the show to start. So I think we got there around maybe like 12:30 is when I got to them and started talking. So eventually like time continues to pass. The DJ's playing music. Like like it's a cool DJ. Like I get, like you got to have like an opening set, like warm us up a little bit, get us ready for the main performance. I'm used to that. It's all cool. But I'm noticing it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and still nothing is it's still just the DJ. Like people have tried to chant T-Pain's name like multiple times, and like I don't join in on the chant because I know that it's not going to make any difference by this point. But I want to say maybe by like 1:30, 2 o'clock, the sun had fully passed over the like canopy that was over the DJ and was now completely beating on my back. So I fully had like major tan, like 14 shades darker on my back than I was on the front side of my body because I refused to turn around. I want to say maybe like 3:30-ish, T-Pain comes out. Doesn't start performing, but like comes out to like whatever like VIP booth area was behind the stage. And it's like kind of hanging out there for a little bit. Like, tells the DJ to play BBL Drizzy because we're all obsessed with it. And so eventually around like maybe like 3:50, one of T-Pain's like camp members like comes on stage and starts like hyping us up or whatever. And at this point, everyone is exhausted. We have been standing in the sun for almost 4 hours. And we're just like, hey, bro, we did not come to see you. Like, we understand what you're doing. We get that this is your job, but we did not come to see you. Please get off the stage so T-Pain can get up here. And then T-Pain got up there. He performed a wonderful mix of his songs. It was honestly a great time. The folks were in like the first, like, I want to say the first row, but it wasn't a row. It was just like a crowd of people. So if you were able to get a shot glass, you were able to take shots with T-Pain, and that was a lot of fun. I did take 3 shots, and I was like, I haven't eaten since this morning. I should slow down. So I stopped at my 3 shots. But the actual, like, T-Pain's actual performance was a lot of fun. It was just getting to that point to still muster the energy and give him the hype and the cheers and the adulation that he deserved was very difficult, because not only had we been standing in the sun for about 4 hours, by the end of his performance, like 5, I had also been standing since about 9:30. I didn't sit down from about 9:30 to maybe like 6. And that was when I finally went like outside to wait for my lift to come and get me. And I sat on like a stone banister. So while I did have a good time, I definitely learned. I definitely learned from that mistake, because while I was able to stand, I never in my life want to have to do that again. So I will definitely be getting a cabana next time. I feel like had I been in the shade and with a group of friends, I would have fully enjoyed the DJ way more. I would have fully been dancing the entire time and having an absolute blast. But instead, I had to fight for my life to keep my position at the gate, so that when T-Pain came out, I was 3 inches from his forehead. Yeah, that was my trip to Vegas. When I first got to the hotel, they were playing Avengers Infinity War. If you know anything about me, you know that the way that I got into all of the nerdy anime comic book type stuff was, well, technically it was cartoons, but it was the MCU. Like the MCU fully got me open into all of this nerddom, got me open to be able to even want to watch anime. So when I saw that Infinity War was on, I was like, oh, we're locked in. I'm not going anywhere. I think I went and got something to eat and came back up and watched the movie. And then after Age of Ultron went off, they played Captain America, the First Avenger. Now, I don't understand why they played them in that order. Age of Ultron came out in 2015, and then Captain America, the First Avenger, came out in 2011. So it really made no sense to have played one movie and then go all the way back and play a different one, because like it's not even like we're playing multiple Captain America movies because you're playing Avengers. Anyway, I was here for it. I was watching both of the movies, and as I was watching these movies, I realized that those movies were so well done. When I was watching them then, I felt like they were very like serious, very like crafted in a way to where it was, yes, fantastical, but it was still very grounded, and this is a regular movie that you would go to see that was about anything else, and it just so happened to be about superheroes and aliens and all this stuff. Watching it back like last week really let me know that like, one, these movies are way funnier than I thought they were. Like there were so many quips in there that legitimately everybody had quips, but you didn't notice it because it wasn't overpowering. You weren't overwhelmed by everybody having to crack a joke every 6 seconds. It was very well balanced then, whereas like some of the more recent movies and TV shows, like everyone thinks it has to be so funny. You have to have all these one-liners. It's like, what's going to go viral? Like what's going to be the next TikTok? What's going to be the next Instagram thing that'll pop off? And there's just all these one-liners. Whereas the movies back then were more focused on, let's make a quality movie, full stop. And so I'm watching both of these movies like, yo, like Marvel was really doing something here. As a viewer and someone who loves Marvel down, has watched every single piece of Marvel content, am so glad that they are deciding to slow down and kind of bring the scale back down to get back to the quality of the movies that we were getting in 2011 and 2015. Because some of the stuff now was just way too focused on what's going to be the next thing that hits, versus how can we make a movie or a TV show that has rewatchability over a decade from now. Because a lot of the stuff that's recently came out, I have not watched again, and I have no desire to. My favorite Marvel movie to this day is Captain America Winter Soldier. I will watch that movie again and again and again because I'm an action girly. I love an action movie. And that movie just goes hard because it's a good movie. It's a well-made movie. Like I can't necessarily tell you of the stuff that came out recently what I want to watch again. I definitely appreciated having a chance to go back and watch some of the older movies and get an appreciation for them that I didn't realize that I didn't have at the time, because I was just like, ooh, content, let me know what the other one's about. Because I feel like back then I was kind of like just like watching them just to watch them. I didn't have the community that I have now of fellow nerds who are like, hey, let's sit and chat about it. And now that I am in communities where they like dig into every single piece of content, I'm realizing that like that isn't even necessarily what I want. Like I'm not necessarily here for the Easter eggs. I'm not here for the like what's that one moment. Like I'm not here for the here's the ways that this pulls from the comic books and does this. Is I don't care about any of that. All I care about is this a good movie and am I having fun? And those older movies were fun. But yeah, that was it. I just needed to rant for a little bit. I think I know what I want to watch for next week. We're gonna take it back a little bit. I appreciate that I have taken the time to not watch some of the Black classics for a little bit, because I don't think y'all understand how taxing it is to go back and watch these movies, because I've never seen them. To go back and watch these movies that deal with some of the heaviest topics. These movies are heavy, and they probably don't feel as heavy to y'all because y'all have seen them already. But I do want to watch a particular movie. We're gonna see how that goes. But if you have watched this far, thank you so much for letting me go on these rants. I really needed that. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share with all of your friends, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.